So there's a few important things to go over for what we're going to be doing in the modules, and one of them is using the geometry editing tool. So with my box placed in the level and everything's lined up properly, I kind of want to show you the orthographic view. So you can see the outline of the box here and here, and then this is the top of it. So when you switch over to geometry editing mode, you can actually drag select certain parts of the square, and then you can change them. You can manipulate them. Like if I wanted to make it wider, I could drag this side, so on and so forth. I'm going to make a series of shapes, and each one will show the different techniques you can use with the geometry brush. We're going to make a rhombus, a trapezoid, a prism, and a cube frame. We're going to start off with the rhombus. So to make a rhombus, drag select one corner, grab the manipulator to move, and drag it out. And then you're going to want to grab the opposite corner and drag that out as well. And here you can see we have a rhombus. The next thing that we'll make is a trapezoid. So we're going to go back to place. We're going to go to geometry. And we're going to add another box right beside the rhombus. Then we're going to go back to our orthographic views. We're going to go to geometry editing. And then I'm going to drag select this corner here, and I'm going to move it out. And I'm going to grab the opposite corner. I'm going to drag that out as well. And there you go. You have a trapezoid. The next shape that we're going to make is a prism. So if you go to place, geometry, grab another box, drag it out into your scene, and then switch back to geometry editing mode. This time we're going to stay in the viewport, and we're going to grab this edge here, and this vertex, and this vertex. Then we're going to click delete. And you can see that it kind of made some stuff disappear. So to get that back, we're going to click in clockwise order all 4 of these vertexes. So we're going to click 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you see create. So if you click create, you get your face back. So now we have the general shape. We're going to go into place mode and select it, and use space to move to the rotate tool. We're going to rotate it. And you can see that the rotation is a little bit off. We're going to set the rotation to 5 degrees, and then we're just going to hit it once. And now you can see it's straight. Then you can use the manipulator tool to put it back on the plane. And there you go. You have a prism. So the next thing that we're going to make is a framed cube. So if you go into geometry, you're going to need 4 boxes for this. So if you drag one box out, that'll be your main box. And you need 1, 2, 3. So from here, you're going to take each one of these boxes and just make them slightly smaller. Okay, so this is where the orthographic view once again becomes important. So from the front side, you can see it's not going to be useful, but the left side is going to be useful for us. I'm just going to move this out of the way. So you can see 3 separate boxes here. So you're going to take the first box and you're going to move it to the center of the first big box that we made. You can see that it's centered. I'm going to check over here. Over here you can see in your viewport that it's not inside the box. So I'm just going to select this box and I'm going to move it forward so that it's a lot easier for us to see. Yeah, just like that. And then I'm going to grab this box and I'm going to move it into the center. And you can see from the top that it's already centered as well. So you're going to take this box, you're going to go into geometry editing mode, you're going to drag select one side, and I would suggest setting the snap lower, and then drag it to the edge of the box, and then you're going to grab the opposite edge, and then you're going to grab the opposite edge and drag that out to the bottom of the box as well. And that's one box done. You're going to grab your next box, go into place mode, and drag that over. You're going to want to make sure on every single view that it is exactly where you expect it to be. So in the center of the big box. You can kind of use your viewport to double check here as well. So now that that's placed, we're going to go back into geometry editing. I'm going to grab this side and drag that out to the end of the box, and this side and drag that out to the end of the box as well. And that's that one done. So if you go back into place, I'm going to grab our third box. So we're going to place that in the center. Okay, so for this one, we're going to want to do it over here. We're just going to grab this edge, we're going to drag it out, this edge, and drag it out. Now comes the important part. So, this is where the brush thing comes important. So we've got one selected. Now if we go over to our details, you can see there's a brush type. What we're going to do is set it to subtractive, and it's going to make a cutout. You can see that this face disappeared here. I'm going to grab our other box, set it to subtractive as well, and then grab our last box over here and set that to subtractive as well. And you can see it made this cutout. Looks really cool. So the thing that is kind of important about this is you are going to have a hard time moving this around. So I usually just grab the entire thing, and then I guarantee you've selected your pesky sky. So in your viewport, if you just press Control and click onto the sky, it will deselect it. And then you right click on this and group. And then you can move this all together as one object. So that's a really good introduction into the subtractive brush, and that will be an important tool that will be used throughout the modules that you are going to be doing. So for module number 3, you will need to go through this as well, and this is just adding content into their scenes. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is add a new folder. You're going to name it My Content, and there can't be any spaces, unfortunately. You're going to go double click to go into that folder, and you're going to click import. So you're going to import first this set called modular set. Just click open and click import all. You can just close this. You're going to go import again. You're going to go into textures, and we're just going to grab texture all walls. Click open. There's these two materials here. You can just delete them. We're going to learn how to create a material. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new material. So you can right click in the content browser and just hit material, or you can go add new material. Doesn't matter what you do. So because this is a material, starts with M, I'm just going to go M underscore, and I'm going to name this all walls. So then I'm going to double click it, and it's going to open this editor here. This is the material editor. So I'm going to right click, which gives you this menu. And I'm going to go to texture, and I'm going to click texture sample. And it brings up this little node here. What you can do is you have your texture here, select it in the content browser, and then under material expression texture base in texture, you can click this arrow and it will plug it into this material. You'll see that this preview is still black. That's because we haven't enabled it yet. So to enable it, we grab this little node here, click and drag and place it into base color. And that gives it the instructions. And now you can see it has color. And then what you're going to do is hit apply. Now, another way to do this, if you delete this, just to make this a little bit faster, is if you already have your texture selected in your content browser, and you come up here and you right click and you go to texture and you click texture sample, it will come up preloaded. So that's just a cool trick to keep this going faster, and then you can plug it in. Hit apply, and you're done. You can just close that. So in terms of using this material, you'll see that I have a modular set of walls here. So I'm just going to grab the wall corner. This is the static mesh editor, and it's kind of the same in the material editor, but it has a whole different set of instructions. So you can see over here we have the material slot. This is where we're going to take the material that we created, so we're going to click on that in content browser, and then we're going to click this arrow here, and that's going to apply the texture onto the mesh here. So that's going to be every single time that we bring this out, it's going to be pre-textured for us, so we don't have to worry, because if you do it before you do that, you just get the blank, and then you would have to click and drag this onto it every single time. But applying it to the mesh in the editor makes it so you never have to deal with that. It's a lot faster. It's a great part of the pipeline. And that's that. So that's pretty much the last thing you need to know to complete these modules. Feel free to use this video as a tool while you're teaching, or to give students a better idea how to use the program. And let's make some houses.